I just wanted to share a little story of my journey with Jeremy, with the Sales Revolution Group. And I was working in hospitality a little bit longer, and when COVID hit and stayed without a job, the only option that I have, it was suggested by a friend of mine, like, why don't you start with sales, right? I was like, yeah. And at the beginning, it seemed so easy for me. I was like, okay. And I found a job, I found a gig, and I started. I was like, okay, I'm gonna smash this. It's not really the story, right? Story of everyone's life. So I was just being on the calls, on the meetings, meetings all day long. There were not much of results. And then after I was like, let me educate myself a little bit, started buying books, joining some gurus, sales gurus, programs around. And yeah, the closing rate and the results improved. But like many people, I believe that many people of you feel the same way. It is like you finish your working day, and instead of feeling fulfilled, you feel like you're just being hit by a train or a truck. It was a battle with every single prospect. I mean, it was not their fault. It was not prospect's fault. It was my fault because I was taught that way, and that's what actually I knew. It was like just trying to manipulate, trying to convince them, trying to persuade them in a certain way. And it will finish the day. I was so tired, but I couldn't even fall asleep because the frustrations from the previous day were hitting me even harder. And I believe that many of you experienced the same, or maybe there you still experience. So I remember it was like April 2021 when Jeremy started one of his challenges in that moment. I believe it was like something like a scripting challenge or something. And I joined the challenge. It was 3-4 days, intensive days. And because of the time zones, I was joining in it like 2 a.m. in the morning. And it will last like until 4. But I needed to find a solution, right? I finished the challenge and I started implementing something straight away. And it was weird. Suddenly, the calls started to be a little bit smoother. The calls start to flow a little bit better. The calls were shorter, and at the same time, I was having a better closing rate. And I was like, okay, well, I believe this is something that I'm looking for. And yeah, in that moment, I remember that after the challenge, the month after the challenge, I already doubled my revenue, my income that I made. And I was like, if only with this amount, getting some pieces of knowledge, I just doubled my income. It's like, why I don't join some of the programs? And then I spoke with Jeremy. Some of his representatives contacted me. I jumped on a call, and I jumped in the inner circle straight away. The funny part is that I didn't have the money at that moment to jump in the inner circle. Instead, I spoke with my father-in-law, and I was like, I will need the funds because of this and these trainings, and with God's will, I'm going to give you back. Luckily for me, he was super open for that, and he was respecting the way. So I jumped in the inner circle. Month after inner circle, I was already double the income that I had the previous month. And now, like 6 months, 7 months after, I don't know how long it is, being in the inner circle and learning all the right skills from Jeremy and from everyone in 7th level. I'm not talking just financially, right? Financially, I'm better than any other time in my life, even though I have been in senior executive positions in the corporate world. So financially, I'm way better. But what is the biggest benefit for me? It is that I'm taking twice less calls and I'm making triple more sales than when I started, which means I save my time. I manage my own calendar. I don't need to be calling, dialing every single day. And I just booked my new trip to Bali. I booked a business class. I can afford it. I can do it anywhere. And it is that freedom that we're going to give you. So many people will say it's a numbers game and it cannot be further from the truth. It is not a numbers game. It is a right skills game. Because with the right skills, you're going to have less calls, spending less time, and closing more deals.